Oh man, oh man, oh man. Get ready, boys and girls, because today's lesson is going to be fantastic. It's going to be chock full of information and dare I say, it may change your life. Okay? Today we're talking about text features and graphic text. We're going to be looking at all the different parts of a graphic novel and how we can read them and what they mean for the story. So let's dive in with a learning goal and some success criteria as we discover more about graphic text. Man, can't wait. Sir, our learning goal, and look, it's a big one today. We are learning to notice, and understand the use of speech and thought bubbles, lettering, narrative boxes, and sound words to create narration, sound, and dialogue in graphic text. That's a complicated learning goal, but I know you guys can accomplish it because along the way, we have some success criteria that can kind of check our progress for us. So those are, I can identify and define speech bubbles. I can identify and define thought bubbles, not through bubbles, thought bubbles. Sorry about that, guys. I can identify narration boxes. I can identify sound words, and I can identify the change in lettering. All right, that's 5 of them. That's the most we've had in a while, but I know you got it in you. Okay, so let's move on. As always, let's move on to some vocabulary, shall we? Boom. Let's make it happen. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. There's no vocab. There's no. Oh, it's over here. There's no words on this screen because you know what? Today we're going to do a lot more showing than just telling. All right. So instead of just going over this list, like we normally do, we're going to dive right in and we're actually going to do a lot of showing you what these things are because, hey, we're working on graphic text. That just makes sense. All right. So let's head on over to a example from our wonderful, wonderful text, Pecos Bill, a colossal cowboy. So we're going to continue on with Pecos Bill, colossal cowboy. And remember, when we last left Pecos Bill, he was wrestling a wolf, and we learned that because Pecos Bill plays a little too rough as a baby, that's why all wolves howl at the moon at night. Let's see what other adventures we have in store, starting now. One day, while traveling near the Pecos River, hold tight, kids, lots of prairie dog holes up ahead. Suddenly, ka-dunk, wee. Any normal baby would have drowned in the Pecos River. Splash. Baby Bill just held his breath and crawled back to shore. Bloop, bloop. Hey there, Mr. Fish. Bloop, bloop, bloop. And that's how he got the name Pecos Bill. Nearby, Mama Coyote was hunting for food. Ooh, my, don't you look tasty. That tickles. You sure are tough. You'll fit right in with my pups. All right, so my question, guys, what features do the creators use to tell the story? Now, I want to stop here, and you see in my question I use the word creators because in our normal text we usually have an author, and then we have an illustrator, but you will see that in the comic book world and the graphic text world, we use the word creators to refer to anybody that helped create the text. So in this case, it'll be the illustrator and the author, and we'll see about any other possible creators later on down the line. So from here on out, during this unit, if I'm talking about the text as a whole, I'll use the word creators. But what features do the creators use to tell the story? That I want to know, how do the creators let you know who's talking? Right? Well, they use speech bubbles, and I bet you guys are familiar with that. Okay, They're usually round or oval shaped, but not always. And they have a little tail or a little pointer, as some people call them, pointing to the person that is speaking. Okay. Some speech bubbles, as you can see in the top panel, some speech bubbles are connected with each other, and there'll be a tiny little gap there to show that people are saying multiple things, or to show that there was a little pause in their speech there. Okay. Sometimes they're oval shaped, not always, depending on what the author wants you to think about what the words are being said. All right. My second question though is, what if there's no one talking, but the creator wants you to show a character's thoughts? Well, what happens there? What's going on with that? Oh, they use thought bubbles. That's what they do. If no one's talking and there's no dialogue, but the author still wants to show what someone's thinking, they use thought bubbles. So, what if there's no one talking, but the character wants to show, the author or creator wants to show a character's thoughts? They're going to use thought bubbles, little cloud-shaped versions of speech bubbles, but with a couple of little cloud bubbles as pointer tails. Right? Sometimes they'll use that. A lot of times they will. It's a pretty useful tool. Right? But what if the creator wants to give the reader some information, like a narrator in a play or movie? What if they want to kind of create some voiceover for you to give you some information that maybe the characters don't know? What are we going to do there? Well, if you notice in the boxes, in the panels, there are some yellow boxes. We call those narration boxes, and they are usually written in the third person, meaning someone is telling about all of the characters, and they are just kind of used to move the story along. Pretty useful. I like them, but you will notice that a good creator will use them sparingly and just be really skillful with how much information they're given. So, all right, we're off to a good start with features. We have 3 important features here, but as Mr. Remedies is a big fan of, what else do the creators use to tell the story? So let's look at this one and this panel. What do you notice in these particular panels? Right? Other than the fact that baby Pecos Bill seems to have a larger mustache than adult Mr. Remedies. Besides that, what do you notice about the creator's skill and craft? I bet you're like, Mr. Remedies, some of those words look different. Right? The word "ow" and "we" look pretty different. It's called lettering. Okay? And when the creators choose to kind of change the way words and letters look, we refer to it as lettering. It's really important. The shape, spelling, and size of the words help us understand how the words are spoken. It can also help with understanding characters' emotions too. But what else do the creators use to tell the story? Again, we're standing on the same page because this page has just got a ton of different text features, as will most pages in your graphic text. So take another quick look at it. Take another close look at it. We've talked about the speech bubbles. We've talked about the narration boxes. And we've talked about the lettering. But what else stands out to you guys? There are some sound words. Uh-oh, here we go. Sound words. Sound words in academic language are called onomatopoeias, which I think is the funnest word to say. But there are some sound words like thunk and splash. And those help us hear what's going on. So words like thunk and splash tell the sound we would hear if this were a movie or TV show, and the size tells us how loud or soft the sound would be. And usually they are not contained in any kind of bubble or box. As you can see on the page, you've seen it before. They usually happen in the location that the sound would have been made. So they add a whole lot of enjoyment and a whole lot of artistic freedom to the story. And I just think they're cool. I really do. So let's move on to a review. All right. Today, as a review, we've learned that creators use different text features to tell the story in graphic text. Creators use the following text features like speech bubbles to show dialogue, thought bubbles to show a character's thoughts, narration boxes to help keep the story moving along, and different lettering styles and sizes to show how sounds work, or how words sound, I'm sorry. And we use sound words to show sound effects like boom or splash or whatnot. Hey, this has just been an awesome lesson. I love teaching kids how to really tear apart a graphic text and really kind of dive in and know how to read them so they get the maximum enjoyment out of it. So I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. As always, I've been Mr. Remedies. You've been just amazing all across Copper's Cove. And we will see you next time. All right, boys and girls, boom. Secret bonus tech for you. Kind of like a Marvel movie. Boom. What? All right, so today we learned all about the different text features. We learned about speech bubbles. We learned about thought bubbles. We learned about lettering. We learned about onomatopoeias called sound words. We learned about narration boxes. So earlier in the video, I made mention of the use of the word creators. In graphic text and comic books, we use the word creators to describe the people that create the comic or create the graphic text. And so I just want to lay a little bit extra information on you that's not quite in our lesson, so that way you guys can maybe get a little bit more knowledge. So in previous lessons, we've learned that like there's a writer of a book called the author, and then if that text includes illustrations, we have an illustrator. However, in graphic text, you will have quite a few people that actually produce the comic. You'll have one person that writes the story. So they're worried about characters and character development, and they are going to describe the character. Then that person, that writer, is going to send their script to the illustrator or penciler if you ever read a comic. Okay, and that person's going to take notes and work with the writer to come up with the illustrations. And then but just in pencil. They're going to do 9 times out of 10 is just draw the pictures in pencil. Then that person's going to send it to another artist who is called the inker, and they're going to take a computer program, or they're going to take actual markers and ink, and they're going to ink over the pencil drawings to give it that really bold look as far as illustration. Okay. And then when that is done and the image is looking really bold in ink, they're going to send that panel, they're going to send that art to someone called a colorist, which chooses the colors of the story. So in Pecos Bill, we have a lot of really cool color choices and whatnot, and so that's all done by the colorist, right? Then that colorist is going to send it back to the to get some word work done, and they're going to send it to a special person called a letterer. A letterer is the person who chooses the style of letters that appear in the narration boxes, in the thought bubbles, and in the speech bubbles. And that is a skill that is underrated, and maybe you guys didn't even know that those 5 jobs existed. So I want to give you a little bit of information because I want to inspire you guys. If you really love graphic text, but you think to yourself, man, I really can't draw very well yet, or I really don't like drawing, but I like the way words look and stuff, and I like to practice my handwriting and like what they call calligraphy, then there might be a possible career for you in being a really good letterer. Or if you really like colors and you really like the way colors and you really interact with each other or tell a story or affect your mood, then you may want to be a colorer without having to do all the drawing business. So I want to give you an extra bit of information, a little teaser at the end here to let you know a little bit about how the process works. All right, for real this time. For real, for real. I've been Mr. Remedies from my secret hideout, and you guys have been amazing, and we will see you next time. Adios, kids.